Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about how Gen Z is choosing independent entertainment. They're choosing content creators. They're choosing things like YouTube and TikTok over Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And, they're throwing hundreds of millions of dollars, and this is going on in video games too. They're throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at these movies, and these kids aren't really interested.
No, and it's not surprising. We've been saying this for a while.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see some shrinkage. I think we're going to see Hollywood shrink, constrict, make more content that is more budget friendly, which means unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, a lot of people are going to be out of work because we're not going to need all the, the 30,000 people working on a movie or TV show. It's going to be a much smaller affair. And when you've got YouTubers that get more views themselves recording out of the corner of their house or whatever than a Hollywood streaming show, you've got problems. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do. Woohoo! We are very happy to be your low-budget alternative to Hollywood.
Yeah.
So you sent this over. We're going to talk about kind of the bigger picture here because we have YouTube wanting to become the new king of Hollywood, and this is why they tried so hard to get into the streaming wars, all these Hollywood studios, because they're like, we can't let YouTube and Netflix take over, but well.
Yeah, I know, but now the bad thing is now they're trying to pay, I think, to play, and then since they have money, they're the ones that are going to get promoted and boosted.
That's what I'm concerned about as a content creator, and YouTube has been moving in this direction for a while. It's just like podcasting. Podcasting was something that independent voices mostly did. Now all of a sudden we're getting all these celebrities with these podcast deals.
But I was going to say though, if the thing is, if it's the creators, it's the content creators that these people like, it doesn't matter if Hollywood does that. It's gonna fail. Yeah,
and if you actually put a content creator that has a decent following up against in a fair fight up against a Hollywood production, sometimes people will choose the content creator, and that's connecting with people more. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a little bit later about how cable TV is effectively dead, and all those kids that were watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. Well, actually, we can show you the numbers right now. Disney Channel, as of the end of last year, only had 100,000 people watching it, 107,000 people watching it.
That's bad. They keep shutting Disney Channels down in different countries, too.
Disney XD only had 18,000. Nickelodeon only had 124,000. I know Cartoon Network, I heard, was like 75,000 people.
That's bad.
And when your average YouTuber, decent-sized YouTuber gets more views on a video than people are watching these channels, that's why they're freaking out. That's why they're freaking out, and they're trying to come over here. So this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, and a warning sign for Hollywood: younger consumers are choosing creator content over premium TV and movies. A new study shows that Gen Z are choosing social and creator-driven content over big-budget entertainment as consumers overall feel a price pinch over streaming.
I don't think it's just a price pinch. I think that's part of it. But I think it's just they grew up with the YouTubes and the content creators, and they have people that they like and they follow and they keep following, or they just like the platform and the format, and that's just what they're used to. So that's familiar to them. Like when they say these shows appeal to older people, like network shows and things, it's because that's what they grew up with and that's what appeals to them.
Yeah, well, I know our kids still check in on YouTubers they kind of grew up with, grew up watching. And some of them are not around anymore. Some of them really aren't that relevant anymore. But God, annoying orange is still a thing. It's not a big thing, but it's still,
That's funny.
And they still get a bunch of views. So they said the key takeaway from the 19th annual Digital Media Trends Survey asked consumers about their media and entertainment preferences. Okay, the survey finds that 56% of Gen Z and 43% of millennials find social media content more relevant than traditional TV shows and movies, and half feel a stronger personal connection to social media creators than to TV personalities.
They're more relatable.
You can super chat them. They talk back. The TV talks back.
They're just like more relatable because they're like somebody, if you followed them a while, you feel like you know them more. They don't feel as Well, some people do, I'm sure. But for a lot of them, the ones that are popular feel like, I want to say relatable, but they feel not just relatable, they feel familiar. They feel like they're not like, so far above you and think they're so far above you. I mean, there's exceptions, of course.
Yeah, some of these streaming personalities are completely out of touch. But actually, I would say more in the Twitch side of things. On Twitch,
Hollywood has been way out of touch.
Oh yeah. That's kind of funny here. They said older viewers fuel YouTube move to #1 among TV distributors. That's interesting. Older people are going to YouTube too. Well, think about it.
I know they are. I know my friends, my parents and stuff. They're talking about how all the YouTubers they watch for news now because they don't trust mainstream media.
It's kind of weird because I know for a while it was like if you're over 30, don't even bother with YouTube. And now I'm seeing a lot of the bigger YouTubers are over 30, over 40, over 50. But you got to realize YouTube has been around for 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So these people they started like in their 20s maybe, and now they're in their 40s. So yeah, it's not too late. I mean, you've got what was it, Skyrim Grandma? She was playing Sky. She had like 300,000 followers on YouTube. She's playing Skyrim. She was 80 some years old. So anybody can do it.
She's
right?
still alive. I don't even know.
I hope she is. I
don't know. If she isn't, I'm going to feel bad.
Oh no. So yeah, they said think about the war for people's attention and time that exists today between traditional media and social media, says China Widener. That sounds like a porn name, China Widener, vice chair of Deloitte LLP and U.S. technology, media, and telecom leader. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter with Gen Z, they spend 54% more time, 50 minutes a day on average, more on their social media platforms, and they spend about 43 minutes a day less in traditional TV and media. Well, nobody's watching traditional TV. I mean, I kind of am because I'm an old head, but I'm watching it on Roku. Like Roku channel is my favorite thing. I literally just turn the TV on. It's just like the old days. Turn it on with a remote, find something to watch on one of their live channels and just kind of park it there. And
can confirm he does that.
It's mostly Star Trek, mostly Doctor Who.
Can confirm it's mostly Star Trek.
And Ancient Aliens.
Can confirm.
But it's no different than watching TV, right? Your dad, he did the same thing. He had like 9 TVs hooked up to the same source, and like wherever you went in the house, the same show was on.
I just do K-drama, so I can't say anything.
On the iPad, a little bitty screen.
I do.
So yeah, when you think about the context of where they're spending their time, are they using both service types? Yeah, but they're spending more time on social media. That's weird though. You're not hearing as much about TikTok. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't, but now you mention it, you're not wrong.
Like ever since TikTok got close to being shut down.
Well, wait a minute though. When they're saying TikTok platforms, are they referring to YouTube or saying streamers? Yeah. Are they referring to TikTok too? Because TikTok would be considered that as well.
Well, I think they're yeah, but I think as far as like actual entertainment, I think a lot of people are going to YouTube now. And I read too that podcasting, I guess, is picking up with Gen Z, but they're not watching video; they're listening to audio.
Right. But I just think I'm not surprised with this because like my daughter always calls herself the iPad generation.
Yeah.
So they've been put on the iPad since they were little to watch shows to entertain themselves. So none of this is surprising to me.
Yeah, they're saying that it's creator-driven engagement. That's the draw. They said younger audience is telling us, the Gen Zs and the millennials are telling us, is that the ads and the product reviews, again, social media, they're more influential on their purchasing decisions. They simply believe them more.
I know that's true because if you get stuff like trending on TikTok and stuff, it sells.
Yeah. They say creators are pouring a flood of content on the social platforms every day, which in turn leverage AI-powered algorithms to steer. Oh, God. We're just cattle. Really are. We're all getting milked by the AI. So they're basically saying, like, look, and we told you this before, too. They're spending less money on linear TV, and they're spending less money, even I think on streamers, than they are on like YouTube advertising and podcast advertising and TikTok advertising, because there's more bang for the buck because people are actually watching those platforms.
Right. If you want to reach people, you have to go where people are.
Right.
And depending on the demographic, if it's older people, you might have a better chance of hitting them like on, a linear TV or, even paid TV, but like a regular network. But if it's millennials or Gen Z or even Gen Alpha, you're going to want to hit them at YouTube or TikTok or places like that.
So this kind of goes with it. And I saw this the other day. They said that YouTube is planning to become the new Hollywood. They said when people when they turn on their TVs, they're turning on YouTube. Now, the weird thing is, and they're saying television is YouTube. I don't watch YouTube on TV very often. Either. I watch it on my phone or I watch it on my desktop. But actually, I kind of walk away from it because we're on it.
That's true. We don't actually usually watch YouTube unless we're looking something up.
Yeah, so people are like, "Oh my God, there's like all this drama going on with so and so versus so." I'm like, I don't care. We make our videos, we say our piece, and I don't really watch a lot of. If I do, it's something completely unrelated to what we do. It's usually like retro gaming videos.
Yeah, that you do.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of like retro gaming, videos, or I'll watch compilations of old media or commercials or something like that. I don't watch. I'm going to be honest, no offense to anybody in our space, but I don't watch other people's videos very often.
Mostly because we don't have time.
No, I mean, there's so much of it. I definitely don't watch 7-hour live streams.
No.
So, speaking of which, I'm doing short live streams over on the gaming channel because I can't do 7 hours.
I can't either. I'd go crazy.
7 hours. According to Fast Company, viewers are streaming over 1 billion hours of YouTube every day on their TVs.
I believe it because that's where people want to watch. And then, but the downside is Hollywood's losing their shit and freaking out. And what I'm really worried about is that they're going to make some backdoor deal, kind of like it seems to be going on with Google and the blogosphere.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try to force the creators out, people, these other creators that are smaller for Hollywood. But the thing is, if they wanted you, they'd be going to you. Yeah. They're not. So pushing everybody else out isn't going to make you popular.
Well, the weird thing too is that sometimes they've tried to push YouTubers into the Hollywood space and they don't do very well.
No, because they do well where they are. Now some people cross over, but if you're doing well where you're at, people are coming to you, then maybe you're better to stay where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, people always want to, I guess, go outside of their lane. And I think for a while there, it was like, since YouTube wasn't taken seriously by Hollywood, we had a lot of people that wanted to be Hollywood types. And then you had this huge exodus where all these younger creators were moving to LA. They wanted to go do the LA thing. And now Hollywood is in shambles. And some of them, I'll be honest, some of them gave up their YouTube careers to go chase the Hollywood thing, and they never really went anywhere.
No.
So you should have just stayed on YouTube, know your role, right? Know your role. So they're talking about how they're trying to push smaller creators now and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, this is what's going on. Like, kids just are not watching. They're just not watching TV anymore. They're not watching cable. They're watching.
No, I'm not. I mean,
really
this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I mean, this really shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, honestly. This is what we've already been talking about for a while now. It's just more confirmation of what we already knew.
So I want to look at this real quick. We were talking Gen Z, but this is interesting. Older viewers are fueling YouTube move to #1 among TV
that's surprising.
That is.
What is older? Over the age of 50. Okay. So yeah, it is surprising because it usually stayed towards like the network TV, but I guess it's not really that surprising because I have been talking to my parents stay more on like the network TV, but some of their friends, I've been there and they were discussing it. They're talking about how they watch this YouTuber or that YouTuber, or they like this YouTuber because they're positive about uplifting. They like this one because they get news. They don't have to go to the mainstream. I know, right? They don't have to go to the mainstream media. Yeah. And I'm hearing this from, like I said, older people like 70s, 60s, 70s. And I'm like, well, so I guess I can kind of see that because I am hearing this anecdotally,
Yeah, they're saying people over 50 accounted for 36% of all time spent watching YouTube on TV, more than the combined 28% for teenagers and adults 18 and 34.
That makes sense too, because YouTubers or people, the older people are going to more likely want to watch it on a TV, where young people are going to watch it on like their phones more.
Yeah. Yeah,
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, again, it's just kind of that jump to like, okay, instead of watching ABC, I'm going to watch, so-and-so on TV. But yeah, here's the Nielsen's media distributor gauge for February. YouTube is #1, then Disney, that'd be Hulu and Disney Plus. Then Fox.
Interesting too. And they're supposed to be above Netflix. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
That's weird. For TV screens.
Here's something too. Okay, because I was going to say, because a lot of people I know our kids only watch stuff on their phones for the most part. Plus, you also have, and I don't know how they count this stuff, but some of the stuff does cross over to network because you have channels on like Roku or different places like that are just YouTuber channels.
Yeah.
That they just run their videos and they run them, 24/7, and they cycle through their videos. If you get it put on certain platforms, I'm not sure if that counts towards TV viewership or if it counts towards YouTube viewership, but I would say TV, I would think.
Yeah.
But I know, so you might even have some of the numbers are higher than what they're saying, depending on how that's reported.
Yeah, that's really interesting though, because like I said, I very seldom watch YouTube on TV. The only time I do is like in the background, like if I'm cooking or something in the TV in the kitchen, I'll put on like a retro gaming something.
That's true. He does. He also cooks a lot too.
I do cook a lot. I like to cook.
He's good.
Am I?
At cooking.
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. I do grill a mean steak though.
That's true, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm the master of the meats. The meat master.
That's what he likes to call himself. He says, "Call me meat master," and I say,
"Hey,
no.
honey."
Anyway,
meat master's coming home.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this, but this is another reason why Hollywood's going to be like, "Oh shit,"
yeah,
because now the audience that they were banking on is even turning to YouTube. And I think part of it is because of the media. And, people feel like they can't get a straight story out of the media. So they're going online. And I just think that's, there's they're starting to realize there's a lot of interesting stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, I think that what I'm concerned about too, though, as a content creator, is I know that they're pushing for more subscriptions on YouTube, like premium subscriptions. I am worried they're going to try to turn it into Netflix, and then it is going to be mostly Hollywood stuff that gets pushed. Because
let them do that, and then they're gonna fuck around and find out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because what's going on is the reason people are there, and that's what these platforms and businesses don't understand. The reason people are at if you go to McDonald's, you're going there for a burger. You don't want tacos. So if the taco places are trying to take over and they start selling tacos, people aren't going to go there anymore. They're going to go find another burger because that's what they were there for. And it's like that. All you're going to do is the people that are there because they love this content, they love those creators, and they love the feeling of being closer to people, which I think kind of crosses over sometimes into dangerous territory. But they love that.
Just want to be close to the meat master.
You better be careful. People will take you up on that. Okay. I think what's going on is they think they're going to step in and take over. And if they do that and they go like, we're going to get the money and we're going to go more Hollywood so we feel more legitimized as far as the corporation's concerned, all it's going to do is shoot themselves in the foot. It's not even going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're just going to whack themselves off at the knees.
Whoa! Language.
You know what I mean? See, they're going to meat master themselves. They're going to cut themselves off at the knees and then, or even hot, at the waist. And then they're going to be like, why are we bleeding out? And it's like, because you went after you went after the wrong audience for what you are. And it's now the older viewers are going there too, because they're turning their back on Hollywood. You have a whole other audience that you're going to piss off if you change it. So if they're listening, which I don't know if they will, bad decision if you're going to chase Hollywood. Let Hollywood, eat its own and die if it has to, because or change and adapt. But changing YouTube to accommodate Hollywood isn't going to help YouTube. It's just going to crush YouTube.
Yeah, and they've tried this before. They were actually a little early to this, but they tried like YouTube Red. And
I was going to say YouTube Red, yeah.
Yeah, Cobra Kai came from, but again, they were trying, I think they were way early. So I'm like, are they going to go back to that where they're going to do this premium Hollywood type content, or can individual studios put their content up and then just paywall themselves and be like, well, you want to watch our movie? You can buy it directly on YouTube. That's the only place you can watch it. You can watch episodes of the show. It's only on YouTube.
That I could see. But I think if YouTube's going to try to go all in on Hollywood because of the money, and then shaft creators like what we're concerned about doing with subscriptions and all that crap, it's going to bite them in the ass. So I'm just saying. Are we going to wrap this up?
We're going to wrap this up, guys. So lots to ponder. So if you're watching us on TV, thank you very much for that. You contributed to the billions of views I guess they get. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.